The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
My name is Insensitive. They call me the Oga of them are the general overseer of them all. Every man, every woman has got a voice where integrity is the volume. So this is Voice of the People's TV. Voice of the People's TV. So this is the people's voice. And the people's voice is the voice of God. That's the voice populi in Latin. The people's voice is the voice of God. So keep watching Voice of the People. In fact, my name is Voice of the People. Keep watching MC Ado Pikin.
Hi guys, my name is Kagan. I am Nigeria's biggest tech content creator, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Voice of the People TV. Keep watching, enjoy, and you're welcome.
My name is MC Alamano. They say they call me Enjoy Med Landlord. It's VOP TV. Keep watching VOP TV. Don't touch it down. Even if you want to touch it down, increase the volume. If you don't increase the volume, I told me.
My name is Collins Agawabe, popularly known as No My Day, but last, more than No My Day, or more. Not be all so the cook right at the fry plantain. We keep on watching VOP TV. The voice of the people, the voice of Edo. If you now want to get the authentic news for Edo, the way it be, that's why they show and all the cut anything come on. At VOP TV.
Inside my name, phone of the people TV. That name is unique. The brand quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. Forward to me in your studios. The people TV, the credo, bro.
Now you have more than a voice.
It's a beautiful Friday morning. Good morning. Welcome to the weekend of this morning. VOP Star Television. Trending stories. For whilst insensitive that Tinubu stirs national debate at the great Nigerian project. These are the topics of this story that will weigh in the cause.
That is it, Voice of the People TV. So that's really obviously have a website, www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Okay, good to have you on board.
Yes. You have the. We're always working. Emphases. Now, the judgment, which upheld an earlier decision of the Federal High Court, awarded 1 million naira in damages to Abuja-based lawyer Abubakar Marshall, who challenged the VIO's powers in a fundamental rights suit filed through Falano and Falano Chambers. Now, Justice Nkoye Evelyn Maha had previously ruled that the VIO was not backed by any law to confiscate vehicles or impose penalties, a position now reinforced by the appellate court, which described the agency's appeal as lacking in merit. Now, the ruling effectively strips one of Nigeria's most dreaded traffic enforcement bodies of its powers, leaving the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, as the only legally recognized authority for road traffic management. And basically, for millions of motorists, long harassed by VIO officials, yours truly included, the judgment is being hailed as a victory for justice and a relief from what many have considered arbitrary extortion, while some critics warn that it could create enforcement gaps on the nation's chaotic highways. But I disagree with that position of the critics, because we have the FRSC. It's their job to inspect vehicles, check tires, expiration date on tires, if you have fire extinguishers and, those things. That's the job of the FRSC. Yeah, that's my producer there speaking in my ears. Yes, this is exciting to hear, because, if you've never come in contact with these guys, you obviously or probably wouldn't know the joy in the hearts of a lot of Nigerians, because the brazen manner in which they seek to get revenue is alarming. I remember it was they impounded the vehicle. Next thing, it was in their office, and then I had to go get some. Had to go pay money to the bank, and I went a long distance into Ikeja. Meanwhile, I had an appointment. Oh God! Paying the money, and then I had to provide my tax ID, which in itself was a problem. And by the time I wanted to get my vehicle out of there that same day, because, I move around late into the night a lot. I used to. And then I got back to the office and they had lessened my tires. And I asked, why? I just left you.
You didn't make trouble.
I didn't make trouble.
So why did they have to deflate your tires?
They deflated the tires, and then I had to, then you have to call somebody within the to come and inflate. And the charges were more than the usual charges outside.
They'll share the money at the end of the day.
I'm like, why are you people doing this?
You see, that is why the problem of Nigeria is caused by
spend the nights there.
So that you pay more money.
So you pay more money.
So why deflate the tire that happens to be in their office?
That's the question. Nigeria's problem is caused largely by Nigerians.
And what is the business with tax ID? That's another question I want to ask. What's the business with tax ID?
You need that.
No,
to-
even
to
last
make
month,
the payment
even last
and all
month.
of
I
that.
think at a point the Lagos State government came out with that direction, with that directive, policy directive that look, if you are a traffic offender and you reside in Lagos, whether you reside in Lagos or not, you have to provide your tax ID to ensure that you're a taxpayer. Now, what is happening in the VIO thing, it gladdens a lot of people because I also have a very terrible experience, I brought out I removed my seatbelt. Somebody was driving. While I was driving to work, I removed my seatbelt, brought out, I think my phone, someone called. So the moment I removed it, brought out my phone, put it back, they waved me. What? That I did, I wasn't putting on my
But you have a
seatbelt.
seatbelt already on.
That I saw them and started struggling with it and all of that. We argued and argued and argued. I just drove out from Alakbere and they took me to somewhere around 7-Up area. We drove in there, they deflated the tires in the first place. So I had to go inside the cage.
That's like the first thing they do.
I had to go inside the cage.
You have the right to do
pay
that.
I think I paid about 5,000 naira
Oh,
then.
you still remember?
Yes, paid up and came back and all of that. I had to look for a vulcanizer, to pump the tires and all of that. My day was completely messed up. And so when the producer used the word dreaded traffic enforcement, they are actually dreaded. You know what? And along that area, around the UPS, they always stationed there.
Yeah,
UPS, they are always stationed there. And so I think because there are no arteries around that area, so you must have to
Pass them.
You can't avoid them. And so it happens all the time. But I think there are issues, in this. When they say that when the court says that the FRSC is the only legally recognized authority. So what of the traffic police? We have traffic wardens, police,
Traffic police.
And even police itself.
Impound vehicles.
They don't
impound,
Yes.
but they check your driver's license.
The police has
They
the
check
right
your
to check
passport.
the driver's license,
Okay.
especially in a case where there is news or suspicion
theft
that the vehicle
suspicion.
might be stolen.
Yeah.
So the police can check.
Okay.
But those are special moments. They don't just mound.
And it's no
roadblocks
longer a
to-
special moment because
to
they
check.
do it all the time to extort money from people too.
Well, that's
That is the
unfortunate.
problem. That's quite unfortunate.
Well, this judgment, we need. I think it would be nice to get a lawyer's perspective to know if this is just in Abuja or Nigerian roads
They
all
said
over the
No,
nation.
they said
This
Nigeria.
is
They said Nigerian roads.
and
But
This is
remember,
Nigerian road.
This is an
initially-
appellate court.
Initially,
Saying it's a Nigerian
okay.
road.
But we had an issue.
I
one
understand
time that
Moses'
it was just in
Moses'
Abuja.
point because the VIO is it a creation of the federal act or a state act? That's the point. I think you raised a very instructive point. Now, is it federal? Is it a federal agency or are states empowered, to create their own vehicle?
I think it's a
inspection
federal
office?
agency.
It's a federal agency.
But when this case, was it this case or another case came up in Abuja, they were restricted in Abuja alone.
It was this
In
case.
Lagos, we're told that, look, they still have the powers.
Yeah.
And up until yesterday, they were still on the road in
You
Lagos.
see the Nigerian problem because we don't pursue cases like this to a conclusion. You're always in a hurry. Nigerians are always in a hurry to move. So even if this law states and they say it's a national thing, it is nationwide, you still the same state VIO stop you, harass you, embarrass you, delay you, and because you are in a hurry to leave and go to your business and all of that.
You comply.
You comply. You simply comply.
But I
okay,
think-
how much is it? You pay and move on.
I think if-
and because of that,
Yeah.
No, the thing with VIO is you don't just pay. You can't just pay them. It's a revenue pulse. You pay into the account.
no,
That's
beyond,
why it's
beyond that, their bosses in the offices also send them out. This is like today
have a
that is
quota.
Friday. There's a certain
have a
amount of
quota that
money
must meet.
you have to ensure.
Your promotion, from what I gathered, your promotion is hinged on
How much
how many
you-
vehicles you can impound and how much you can rake in.
Which is not right. And you know what unfortunate thing? They leave the vehicles whose
Commercial-
exhaust
I was getting there. I was
about to
that point.
polluting the whole city and all of that. And when they see a brand new vehicle, they
You're
stop
the one
it.
that has the money to pay.
Yes, and I said, what is the meaning of vehicle inspection? Meanwhile, they are supposed to inspect your roadworthiness, and they see vehicles that are not roadworthy, pass them by,
Yeah, some people.
and
will
what
ask
do they
if the
do?
road-
They will simply stop the brand new vehicle and start harassing you because they know that you are the one that will pay. It's quite unfortunate.
That speaks to how we've turned some of our agencies into money-making, agencies. The VIO are not supposed to reckon any revenue for the government.
For the government.
But now, from the look of things, they are doing it already. When people were talking about your experience, I was just laughing. Because something happened, I think, 3 days ago, along the Saleh axis. There's this police station, then you have the Saleh, close to that Saleh, what's it called, bus stop and all that. As the VIO guys were there, at the edge, like there's this roundabout, and then in front of them with the police, like more like a 2-section of people that you must meet. And then the VIO, they don't talk or they don't even stop the doubtful riders, those drivers that we know, you and I know that their vehicles are dead trapped. They don't stop them. And they were stopping clean vehicles to say, where is this, where is this? So it got to a point, one man now asks a question. You asked me for this is it. You asked for this is it. So what else do you want me to do? He said, you don't talk to me like that. For talking to me like that, park well. And then that's okay, fine. Okay, let's see how this unfolds. And then the man says, okay, I don't have the right to challenge you or to ask you why you're delaying me. And you've asked me for like 4 things and I've given it to you. You asked for chassis number, find it to yourself is a problem because you don't even know where it is. And you want me to point it out to you, but you are the one on the road to inspect vehicles. You asked me for fire extinguishers, here's a fire extinguisher. You asked for caution sign, here's a caution sign. The back and forth, and they were causing gridlock. And at the end of the day, immediately the man left their spot, the police or the next place, the man and the police, because they have like,
as well.
Yes.
God bless you. And in front of that port, I think they have last month too there. Imagine when you maybe have somewhere you need to get to. I'm not trying to, hold breath for people who are offenders or something like that, but I think it is one too many. And the pain I have, or the challenge I have, is that all these agencies, they know themselves. So they have individuals, or rather, in each station that they have in position, they have people from different agencies work with them. You have the kick against indiscipline there. You have the, the last man. You have the VIO. You have the Nigerian policemen.
They are just
all in the same
agencies.
cycle.
Too many agencies.
Making money or trying to find a way to extort Nigerians. I'm happy with this anyway. When Mohammed Abubakar Marshal went to court to challenge the VIO officer that stopped him somewhere in Abuja, the right that he has. I think that happened along I can't recall on top of my head. Somewhere before you move into the, Jabi axis, yeah. It was along the Jabi axis where the first scenario played out. They decided to go to the appellate court. And I'm happy that the ruling say pay him 1 million. After the 1 million, the VIO are not supposed to be there on Nigerian road. So let's see if it's going to get to Lagos and every other part.
Anyway, it's important that this judgment is out there. Let's see, because it eventually gets to the Supreme Court. So let's see the judgment of the Supreme Court. And again, I think we need authorities to tell us which agency is responsible for checking what, because there are too many agencies out there. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC in Nigeria, has issued a stern warning to the public against engaging with an online investment platform known as Glorious Wealth Fund, GWF, describing it as unlicensed, unauthorized, and fraudulent. According to the regulator, the operators of GWF, through their website, gloriouswealthfund.com, falsely claim to offer investments in Nigerian stocks and other financial instruments under SEC supervision. While the Commission clarified that these claims are false and misleading, stressing that GWF is not registered or licensed to carry out any capital market activity in Nigeria. This revelation has sparked widespread concern as unsuspecting Nigerians risk losing their hard-earned money to what authorities now label a suspected Ponzi-style operation. SEC has urged investors to exercise caution, avoid transacting with the firm, and report any suspicious dealings, warning that anyone who ignores this advisory does so at his or her own peril. Well, in our local parlance, we say Mugu must always fall. But it's quite unfortunate that people, stay in the comfort of their apartments or wherever they are, create this kind of negative platforms to do what? To defraud people. There are regulations. Before you get into as an investment platform, you must get approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission, from the Nigerian Stock Exchange, from the Central Bank of Nigeria, from appropriate authorities. But we see people bypass all these protocols and do what? Just float it, because they know that the average Nigerian is looking for a way to put his money so as to make gain. Many Nigerians are looking for different streams of income, collect from here, take from here. And because of that, they fall prey, to style schemes like this. It's quite unfortunate. But before you check, before you invest, please check very well. And it's important. I'm happy that the Securities and Exchange Commission has come out with this. But unfortunately, when they have defrauded people, we don't get to hear that monies were recovered and sent back to the owners or what. And after like 2 or 3 weeks, the whole thing dies down. After 6 months, you see another scheme come up. And guess what? Nigerians still troop in, to patronize all of these agencies. It's quite unfortunate. SEC, you have done a good job. But Nigerians, be careful where you put your money. Please, be careful what you wish for.
I'm trying to remember the name of the last one, the one that rocked the nation some months back. I think it was last year.
Is it CBEX?
CBEX, yes, thank you very much. CBEX, they had some recoveries.
Yes.
Yeah, for CBEX,
I like the word some.
Yeah, well, we're told that monies were recovered, but how the monies were to be redistributed to the original investors is what I'm not aware of.
Yes.
But they had some recoveries from CBEX. But the fact of the matter remains that Nigerians want quick money. And it's largely because of the way the economy is. People want to double their money doubling and the rest. So they jump on anything that gives them the impression. And the fact of the matter remains that Nigerians know that these things will collapse. I mean, history has proven to us that these things always collapse. But they wait. They like the fact that the first timers are the ones that make the bulk of the money. If you jump in, if you're an initial investor when it's still fresh, when the program or investment is still within its first 1 month, 2 months, you make money. But by the time it starts to spread, then the possibility of it collapsing becomes inevitable.
Yes.
So people like to run into it at that initial stage, knowing that it will end. But it still boils down to regulation. The onus really is on government agencies to regulate this and stem that, stop them before they get out of hand. And whoever is caught should be made to face the wrath of the law. There was one a husband and wife were involved in, and I remember that story.
There was one in Port Harcourt.
They traveled. They had to run out of the country. They had bought properties in some country in the world, somewhere in the world, that made them automatic citizens of that country. So a lot of these things happen. But people should be careful. And if you're one that looks out for quick ways of making money, you are most vulnerable.
Why not say the way it is? If you're greedy in making money,
that's
because
another
that's
way of
just
putting
it.
it.
If you're greedy in
That's
making
another
money,
way of putting
you will
it.
fall victim of Ponzi scheme and you'll be scammed of the little one you have. Because I can only see greed playing out here. I don't see the reason why you sleep awake or somebody will tell you that if you bring 10,000 naira in 2 days, they'll give you 100,000. How? That's the first question you should ask, how? But for those who waited until December for them to start running around for Christmas celebration and they're falling victim of this, sorry, I have to tell you sorry, yes, in advance, because SEC have come up to say, we don't know who they are. After MM.
Scam has always been there.
After
and
the
it will always
MM,
be there.
is he MM to Abi?
Even before MMM.
And people are still falling
I think there was one in Port Harcourt. That one was so huge and people invested. And we shared the same office complex at that time. That was the way people were trooping in. But I've been a very cautious person all my life, so I was very cautious. I said, no, this thing looks too real to be good. And I was very skeptical and I stayed back. Man, the day the thing collapsed, come and see crowd. They locked the gate, nobody is coming in, nobody is going out. It was in a plaza and all of that. And the man quietly with the wife
Ran
away. Will you stay? That was how the whole thing ended.
linked by the mob.
That was how the whole thing ended till today.
All right, let's move away from that quickly. It's just to let you know that there's a twist of events where the Nigerians are reacting, especially football lovers. We learned that Super Eagles captain William Troost Ekong has announced his retirement from international duty just weeks before the 2025 African Cup of Nations in Morocco. ending a decade-long career that saw him earn 83 caps, 5 major tournaments and medals, including the Rio 2016 Olympic bronze. The 32-year-old defender, fondly nicknamed the Oyinbo War, revealed in an emotional statement that his journey began with a life-changing call from the late Stephen Kesh in 2015, and that representing over 230 million Nigerians has been the greatest honor of his life. Ekong, who played at the 2018 FIFA World Cup and 3 AFCON tournaments, expressed gratitude and pride, saying his support for the team will continue even as he steps aside. His sudden exit leaves a leadership vacuum in the squad, but people believe that maybe we'll have Wilfred Ndidi take over as a captain ahead of the continental show. We know that AFCON is coming up and we're getting our captain say, I'm done, I'm hanging the boots, I'm no longer interested in international football and all that. But I love the fact that the 32-year-old could wake up and say, I am done doing this.
32,
but
right?
Yeah, he's 32 years
I think
old.
he's still young.
He's still a young.
But I think maybe
to create international.
No, he can retire.
Well, he also play for his club side.
International. So it depends
Maybe
on.
he still play for his club.
I don't understand.
Maybe he might.
International engagement.
David, please. He will still play for his
International
club
club.
sides, right? Yeah, so he play for the club
But
sides.
now, the team we need to look at.
So it's basically he will not play for the national team, but he'll play for his club side.
But you know what we need to look at? Why would Trust Ekong retire at this point? Recall we have the issue of unpaid allowances. Yes, because you know we're talking about Nigeria Super Eagles having
you're
morale.
always looking.
Not just me, not just me.
Too.
Other veterans too commented when our boys went to. I think is that Alex Iwobi or thereabout that posted a video or picture of the hotel where they were kept in Morocco for that
So you think
tournament.
he's tired of it? And
Who wouldn't be tired when I've worked for you? Instead of you to pay me what you're owing me, you can't pay me my allowance and every other thing, you politicize everything. I will be tired. We'll move to where things.
he probably just wants to, concentrate on his club.
Do you know how many international footballers?
And that's the question. Why does he want to concentrate?
They make more money there.
Not just no.
No, they make more money.
Yes.
But working for countries also
Make more money too.
Popularizes you and
He
the rest.
played beautiful football for Fulham and Tottenham Hotspur. He did, and also he's been able to. He played for Watford, I guess. He played for Udinese, Braspor, and all that, and he's still playing with the club. So if it is about the money making thing, when you're changing it in pounds and all that, it's more money now to start with. But anyway, congratulations to you for I think seeing the light before the end of the tunnel and deciding to say yes, and deciding to hang your boot at, because it hurts me to know that veterans in Nigeria who have played ball in Nigeria, their monies, the things that they're supposed to get, the houses.
Even those that were promised houses.
Some of them have died. They
In
couldn't enter the building.
1994. Some of them died before they got the houses. Some just got the houses last year. So it's unfortunate how we treat our athletes across all sports. Really, it's unfortunate, but it's up to the athletes as well to make good use of that initial fame and money. All right, make good use of it. Invest, get into some other investments so that when things start to when the sun starts to go down on your career or life, as it were, you would have something to fall back on, as against waiting for the government of your country to save you when you fall ill and the rest of it. So make good use of your initial funds. Well, let's leave all of that story. There are more stories that Nigerians are talking about, but we'll get into all of that in other shows. Now let's run to the papers. We do have the papers. We'll be visited. Let me start off with Nigerian Tribune now. These are the headlines here. Ribadu Musa Kuka upbeat about end to terrorism. Terrorism banditry to end soon. NSA. Nigerians can now sleep with eyes closed. Musa. Defense portfolio now in very good hands. I wish they had changed their Minister of State for Defense as well, Matawali. Yeah, that's just my wish. Appeal court bars VIOs from impounding vehicles, imposing fines. All right. Exodus of oil workers looms. Pengasin warns. Really? You're running out as well? You're joining doctors and the rest. Okay. Atiku. Oh my goodness. What did I do? Okay, just okay, my bad. You know how computers can be. These things can embarrass you. Okay, Atiku faults Tinubu's nomination of former INEC chair for ambassadorial position. And also we have these headlines. Patient alleges organ harvesting in hospital. Ekiti government begins probe. Ex-NMA president Faduyile heads committee. Not the first. Suspected gunmen kidnap APC chieftain Oriade in Ibadan. APC leadership, other stakeholders express concern. Tinubu names Ibas, Dambazau, Sulu Gambari, Enang as ambassadors, increases nominees to 68, seeks Senate's confirmation. Inside, list of overtime cargo for condemnation domiciled at Apapa TCIP and PTML Area Command. Those are the headlines on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune.
The Daily Independent is up next, and the banner headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper today reads that telcos faces scrutiny over poor QoS despite terrific debt pay. Insecurity, we are going through painful times, but it will pass, FG assures. Nigeria focused on strengthening democratic institutions. That's coming from the president. Tinubu. The story is on page 7 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Anderson to FG, go beyond shuffling. Office holders take action. Tinubu has started 2027 campaign while citizens languish in captivity. That's coming from ADC. Tinubu increases ambassador nominees to 65, seeks Senate's confirmation. I will do whatever it takes to secure Nigeria. That's coming from General Musa, the newly appointed Minister of Defense. And we have the window headlines to be Reps suspends consideration of constitutional amendment bill. Appeal court affirms VIOs can't impound vehicle, imposes fines. The bottom strip headline, Obi slams Tinubu over campaign vehicle, says it is profound insensitivity. Those are the stories on the cover page of Daily Independent newspaper today.
Now, let's quickly run through the Punch newspaper. Beside the nameplate, newly sworn-in defense minister declares war on kidnappers. That's General Christopher Musa. Now, the big story, big diplomatic overhaul. Tinubu's 65 envoy picks brace for Senate storm. Ex-Rivers administrator, 30 politicians, others make list. Senate to screen list in 1 week. That's from the Punch newspaper. Nigeria must protect democracy as Sahel faces coups. That's coming from Ribadu, the National Security Advisor. P-TAD monthly payout to retirees soars to 1 trillion naira. Immigration CG visits Kebbi, vows justice after checkpoint attack. FG sets December 20 deadline to pay contractors. VIO heads to Supreme Court after losing vehicle impoundment appeal. Senate orders nationwide crackdown as lead poisoning hits Lagos. That's it from the Punch newspaper. And that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines this morning. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll get into the major topic of discussion. In the world of security, Obi ADC to Tinubu. Early campaign while security crisis increases is insensitive. Step aside now. Join us again, we'll be right back.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, News breaks and events happens. We bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Join Moses, Chukuma, and Fina on Voice of the People TM. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Lovisha Nelson One, your number one celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
Uyosite is my name. I am a friend of the microphone, Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging. Picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV, live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice. Ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. And if you are just joining us, this is VOP This Morning. Now, Nigeria's political landscape is heating up as the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and 2023 Labour Party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, has accused President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of engaging in early re-election campaigns ahead of 2027, despite the country grappling with worsening insecurity. The ADC condemned reports of alleged distribution of campaign vehicles, urging Tinubu to step aside if his focus is on politics rather than governance. Also, Mr. Peter Obi has described the distribution of campaign buses for the re-election of President Bola Tinubu in 2027 as a profoundly insensitive and an abuse of trust at a time when Nigerians are struggling with hunger, unemployment, and insecurity. Well, this criticism comes at a time when Tinubu is making major government moves, including the swearing in of former Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa as Defense Minister, a decision seen as a direct response to mounting security challenges. The opposition insists that the president's priorities are misplaced, warning that Nigerians deserve safety and stability before political maneuvering. Meanwhile, Tinubu has also forwarded 65 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation, signaling a push for to strengthen Nigeria's diplomatic presence abroad. At the same time, domestic controversies are flaring, with a heated clash between former presidential aide Bashir Ahmad and a U.S. lobbyist over calls to disband the Hizbah Islamic police law in northern Nigeria. The debate underscores the deep divisions in the country's governance and cultural identity, even as Tinubu's administration faces scrutiny over balancing national unity, foreign policy, and security reforms. Well, we've been joined in the studio here by Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a seasoned reporter and a political affairs analyst. Good morning, Dele, and thanks for coming. Okay, and virtually we have been joined by Barrister Eze Eluche. Barrister Eze Eluche is attorney at law and public and political affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Dr. Eze Eluche, and thanks for coming to VOP this morning.
Doctor, I'm just Eze Eluche. And thank you for having me on.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Thanks for coming. Now, we also have Dr. Bright Onovia-Kukyo. He's a medical doctor, a public affairs and a political analyst. He's a commentator, coordinator of the Indomitable Youth Organization of Nigeria, member of the Coalition of Civil Society Organizations, also a human rights activist. Good morning to you, Dr. Bright Onovia-Kukyo.
Good morning, Mr. Kumar. Thank you.
Beautiful gentlemen, we appreciate your presence on the VOP Morning Show. Now, let's get into it. Let me start from the studio here. Dele, we understand that the president is distributing vehicles, for campaigns ahead of 2027. And by our laws, I think campaigns are supposed to start 90 days or what before the elections and all of that. But those rules have been violated, by the president himself and his political party. What's your reaction, to all of this? Is it something that we should be hearing now, especially at this critical time when Nigeria's security, sovereignty is tested? Because, practically Nigeria is a nation under siege. And we see the president doing something anyway in the security sector, but he's also campaigning at the same time. Is it proper? Let's have your broad reaction to issues around this at the moment.
Well, one thing I want to clear is that we don't have any evidence to show that it's the president that is distributing these cars. You recall that most of the time, some of these supporters, in order to outdo themselves, they go overboard to do certain things, and just for the president or whoever is in power to notice them for greater advantage in the course of running a campaign towards election. But if it's actually coming from the president, as you pointed out, I think it's premature to start doing such a thing, because there's a difference between politics and governance. The moment you conclude your campaigns and election comes in, you win, you are supposed to put politics aside and concentrate on governance. Because if you espouse politics, you are likely to be distracted to the point that you may lose track. So in this case, I don't want to be exact in saying that the president is distributing.
Or that he's campaigning.
No, I've not seen him campaign anyway.
Okay.
And distribution of vehicle have not been, he has not, any of his handlers has not also confirmed that he's the one distributing vehicles.
Okay. Now will it be safe? Okay.
Funny enough, I have seen it in this country. And you and I know that I am a little bit close to some of these politicians. I've worked with them and I've worked for them. Sometimes the opponents can even print posters and distribute just to smear you.
When we have
It
people,
has happened
when we
before.
have people sponsoring,
Yes.
when we have people's name sponsoring some of these campaign posters and every other thing, these are not coming from opposition members. For example, the door-to-door mobilization. A campaign for the door-to-door mobilization will have a name, attached to it. It's not
You recall that Afebe Balola was never a politician, and he has never thought of being a politician. A sitting governor in Ekiti State printed posters and circulated it.
Okay, now these things happen. But will it be safe for us to say that when we talk about the door-to-door campaign, like distribution of these vehicles and all of that, that the president is unaware of those things? And we haven't seen him say, look, stop all of this because it is not yet time. Will it be safe for us to conclude that?
Let me give you an example. Ifeanyi of blessed memory embarked on door-to-door campaign on behalf of Jonathan. Stella Odua did the same on behalf of Jonathan, even when Jonathan Sant may not be seen there. But that is not to mean that there was no tacit support from Jonathan at that time. So it's something that is playing out here.
Okay.
Some people use their personal resources to do some of these things, to gain advantage. But I think what we should be of concern to us is that the president is looking the other way. He should have reined them in and said, look, it is not yet time. And again, if you have to rein them in that it's not yet time, then other political parties would also have to play the game by the rules.
Do we have other political parties campaigning on this? Because I can recall when Nigerians raised the alarm of APC indulging in early campaigns, all we got from them, or like as rebuttal, is that it is the opposition who pushed them into campaign. Have we ever seen, maybe every other people or every other political platform in Nigeria campaigning too early? It's happening at this point in 2025. We have 2026 already there, and people are not even thinking about governance, but indulging in politics.
You see, what is campaign? Is it not pushing your party to the electorate? That's campaign.
All right. Let's get the views of other respondents here. Let's go to Mr. Ezeluchie Esquire. Good to have you join us once again. Now, what are your thoughts on this, the early campaigns, especially, remember, sometime in the year, Senator Ojus Okalu wore the attire Tinubu for 2027 to the Senate. And, it was condemned in the media. But we didn't hear the president say, don't do that again. But what are your thoughts on this? Early campaigning the president is being fingered for this. And I recall prior to the 2023 elections, sometime around 2021, actually, there were vehicles around Oshodi and some other parts of Lagos that were branded Tinubu for 2023 election. And the president, at no point did he say, oh, guys, stop. In fact, we heard very recently, we heard some people speaking for INEC say, look, if the word vote has not been used, then it is not campaign. But not too long after that, on some streets in Lagos, Third Mainland Bridge, to be exact, we can see vote for Tinubu in 2027. What are your thoughts on this? Could this be detractors trying to make the president look bad? What do you think, Mr. Ezeluchie? Well, I understand that we have a bit of a network problem there. Dr. Brighton Yevyakuka, if you heard the question, please, you can chime in on it.
Okay, thank you very much, Moses. Good morning again, everyone on the studio. Well, the question you just asked, for example, is it's one of the things you hear on the streets that people normally say. Let me use pidgin English to say it. Say you go explain tire, but no evidence. You know, there are people who are institutions that have been saddled with responsibility to monitor issues like this. There are stipulated times for campaign. From the moment.
Thank you very much. I think we should stop talking about that Nigeria.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I think we have a bit of a mix-up now. Dr. Bright, please hold your thoughts because we seem to be getting feed from that of Mr. Eze Luche Esquire. Please, well, you may go ahead, Barrister Eze Luche. Go ahead, please.
Okay, am I audible now?
Pardon?
Am I audible? Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, please. You might need to unmute your microphone.
Yes, we should at this stage stop being tongue-in-cheek when we're talking about our country. Your guest in the studio tried to say it's not Mr. Bola Tinubu who is responsible for this. We cannot be acting, thinking that our rulers are stupid. Because if he says Mr. Bola Tinubu is not aware of over 1,000 cars being brought to the center of Abuja, marked with his name for campaigns, if he is insinuating that Mr. Bola Tinubu is not aware and appreciative of that, that is actually trying to show that Mr. Tinubu is not aware of what is happening in Nigeria. So the issue is this: to cover the lack of skills at governance, to cover his minuses, right from the day he assumed office, Tinubu has front-loaded or made it a front burner, an issue of the front burner of 2027. I mean, there has been actually no governance. All we've had in Nigeria is more insecurity, more taxes, increased sufferings of the people, and almost zero governance. So the issue of not being aware of the early campaigns does not really arise, because Mr. Tinubu is clearly aware, unless we are suggesting that he is not saying enough to appreciate it. And I don't want to go that direction, because this is the person who is ruling Nigeria. So definitely he's aware. But there should be, the law should follow it. If there was an independent National Electoral Commission in reality, what INEC will do is to caution these people who are cautioning Mr. President, and if possible, if it repeats itself, ban him from contesting for the next election. I keep on telling Nigerians that there are several reasons why Mr. Tinubu will not even feature in the next elections. And if he continues in this path, if this kind of campaign before election continues, INEC, if it was truly independent, should ban Mr. Tinubu from participating in the next year's election. And if it fails to do that, other political parties should actually approach the courts. Yes, we know that even if they approach the courts, he has appointed the CJ, he has appointed the courts, but do that. Let it be that the courts have failed to implement the laws of the country. And when they don't implement the laws of the country, that means it's not a free-for-all. But indeed, by what he has displayed on the national TVs in Abuja with the release of the campaign vehicles, Mr. Tinubu has flouted the electoral laws, has flouted the campaign laws.
All right, Barrister Ezeluche, what does the law say? What does the law say about campaigning, and what can be done when one is seen to have flouted that? I think 150 days to election. That's about the time that campaigning is officially to start. If found guilty, what does the law say? Unfortunately, we've lost.
Okay, I'm hearing you now.
Go ahead now, please.
Yes. So I want to flouted the electoral law. They have flouted it's enough to disqualify him from participating.
All right. Unfortunately, I think we're having a problem with the device with which you connect in. Maybe the earpiece or something is giving issues, so we are losing out. And then there's this humming sound that is affecting the output of your audio. So if you can please oblige us, find a way to replace it or take it out entirely. Let's see if we can hear you better. Go ahead, please.
No, now what I try to.
This is a whole lot better.
Say now is this: Nigerians should be monitoring the Independent National Electoral Commission on its preparations and activities before elections by the acts Mr. Tinubu has committed of releasing those campaign vehicles, because it's him that has done it. Otherwise, the police, the EFCC would have stopped anybody who else was doing that if it was not with consent of Mr. Tinubu.
Don't you think it could be some enthusiast who feels, okay, he's in support of the president and he wants to campaign on behalf of the president? Should the president be held liable for the actions of somebody who's doing it on his behalf, whether he knew beforehand or not?
My brother, if your supporter or enthusiast, you know he's going to steal because he loves you, is it not up to you to tell him, do not steal? Because that stealing will hurt me. So forget all that story of supporters or enthusiasts, like the guest in the studio tried to present. We presume and we must acknowledge that it is Mr. Tinubu who has done what he did. Otherwise, he would have stopped that thing from happening. But having accepted it, he has to bear the consequences. What should INEC do? INEC should warn Mr. Tinubu, because this is the first official infringement. And if it should happen again, INEC should disqualify him.
When you say INEC should warn him,
INEC does not do this.
Barrister, when you say INEC should warn him, please let's get something straight here. At first, we had the posters, the door-to-door mobilization, and also the votes. And we also saw an individual putting on a uniform, a cloud saying vote this man. And now the issue of branded vehicles. So at what point will the grace that INEC will give to the president elapse? Barrister Zeluche.
But this current one, the release of over 1,000 vehicles, is enough to ask INEC, for INEC to warn Mr. Tinubu. Then if it continues, INEC must disqualify him. There is absolutely no reason for anybody to say they are waiting till when election time comes to gauge the independence or the objectivity of INEC.
All right. Barrister Eze, will it be fair? Yeah. Will it be fair to single out the president in this early campaign thing? Because we hear opposition gather, we hear Atiku Abubakar, Nasiru El-Rufai, Peter Obi, and other hopefuls gather and say, look, 2027 is around the corner. Nigerians, you need to vote out President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Isn't that some form of campaign?
Sorry, I didn't hear you very well. Could you repeat that, please?
Okay, my question is this. I hope you hear me now. That will it be fair to single out the president and say he is the only one, or APC is the only one campaigning? Because we see opposition gather, people like Atiku Abubakar, Nasiru El-Rufai, Peter Obi, Rauf Aregbesola, they say, look, 2027 is big for Nigeria. We need to vote out Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Isn't that some form of campaign?
No, I mean, campaign, you have to have a candidate. You have to have somebody you are, and the office is running for. I have not seen any such campaign going on in other parties. Now, let us not try to dilute facts, please. Let us be factual. This is the only country we have.
Does it appear that like the APC already has a candidate? Because last time they said, look, the APC ticket is not for anybody. You go to the primaries and contest for it. Do they have a candidate at the moment?
No, well, they don't have a candidate, but somebody is distributing 1,000 vehicles that is campaigning for presidency, and we are seeing it. No, you see, if we keep on giving these excuses, they were not ready to move forward in this country.
But Barrister, we are not giving excuses. We are just having an honest conversation because we want to understand what Nigeria is.
Yes, but everybody Nigerians know what a campaign is. I mean, you campaign when you solicit for votes, you solicit for the vote for a person. I have not seen any other party do that. I have not even seen any other of the candidates in the ADC or P2B or Atiku Abubakar do that. But we are seeing one now. All we're asking is this: let the INEC set the parameters right. Now that we have seen it, let us not wait till stories will happen in 2027. If INEC is incapable of enforcing the electoral laws now, then there's absolutely no reason. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Think that same group can conduct elections.
Thank you.
So we should address these issues with the same vehemence and that is required.
Okay.
Never again should this kind of thing be seen. That should be the responsibility of INEC.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Izaluchi. Dr. Brighton Evekuko, let's get your opinion on this topic already. The early campaigns, the accusation of a vehicle, branded vehicle already out there campaigning for the re-election of the president, and also how political parties are reacting to this, please.
Well, like I said earlier, you go explain tire, no evidence. Now, when we look at some of these issues in Nigeria, sometimes we begin to ask ourselves if we're using the same law, if there is objectivity in the things that is being done. When the president, in fact, when he was sworn in 2023, when he was sworn in, some days later, that was when the thoughts or the first mention of 2027 came up. And I was like, this man has not started working. He has not even assumed office fully. We're already hearing about 2027. And over time, the 2027 gist has been coming up. And now we're calling on INEC. If INEC is saying without the mention of votes, that is where Nigerians are being changed at different times. We have definitions for things that will suit a particular set of people, and the same attitude, when it applies to some other persons, it becomes a different thing entirely. If we look at, I've mentioned it before, definition of terrorists, definition of bandits, definition of insecurity, and every other thing, they have their own different connotation when it comes to Nigeria. For those vehicles, I know I saw a part of it, but I've not seen fully what was written on it. But in various places in Benin, I've seen Asiwaju for 2027. Though there was nothing like written as votes or whatever, but once you see it, the message is clear. So the truth of the matter is, we need to call on INEC. Let them explain to Nigerians what campaign actually means. What kind of activities should politicians embark on that will now say, okay, this qualifies for campaign, this does not qualify for campaign, so that we will not be arguing or trying to speak for something that is not, because the laws are clear. But again, we need to get a better interpretation of it so that we will not be accusing politicians unnecessarily.
Dr. Bright,
yes,
now, based on what we have on ground, who should be held responsible? Is it the president who is seated in Abuja doing his business, or in those states, is it the governor who has authorized, who probably authorized the vehicles, or in Abuja could it be the minister who probably authorized the vehicles? Who? Or is it in Lagos? Should we hold the governor or the advertising agency responsible for the banners and the banners and posters that we've seen that speak about voting the president in 2027? Who should be held responsible in all of this? Or can the president be exonerated from all of this going on?
No, the president cannot be exonerated. The reason being that if it's good for me, no problem. If it's against me, it's a challenge. Now, some persons have been called to question at the DSS office because they made a post, because they made utterances that were against the president. In the same way, if people are carrying out activities that the president is aware, or the president knows that this is against the law, the DSS that used to call people who maybe insult the president or say something about the president should also call these people to order. So the president cannot fake ignorance, because he should come out openly and put up a disclaimer that these people, whatever thing they are doing, were not authorized by him. But they keep a blind ear to it. Let's say, for example, now, stepping into the government house in Edo, for example, you see somebody selling the cap with that Alpha Beta logo on it. And of course, we know there was a pronouncement at a time that if you don't wear that cap, you shouldn't come for ESCO meeting. All these are campaign strategies. Take it or leave it. Whether it carries the name, vote, or whatever, it's all about mobilization for vote, trying to create awareness that this is your candidate, this is what and what should come. So the president should stand up and say, okay, I'm upholding the rule of law. What these people are doing, he does not approve of it. If he claims he does not know the origin of some of these things, it can be investigated. But first, there should be a disclaimer if he's not a party to it.
Thank you so much.
We've also had cases.
All right, let me let you land. You want to say something? I thought you're done with your line of thought.
Allegedly, in this country, that sometimes people feature for primary, meanwhile, it is a candidate that has bought their form for them. So you have many of them coming out for primaries. Meanwhile, the source of the fund for the nomination form came from one person. And when it now gets to that particular day, every one of them will step down, leaving that primary candidate to remain. So these are things that have been alleged in this country. So
that is all
with the way things are going,
Nigeria, right?
everything is possible.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Brighton Ibokiko. Let's get Barrister Asi Adams join the conversation. Good morning once again, Barrister Asi Adams. Good to have you join this conversation. And we're looking at the legality of early campaign in Nigeria. Help us actually make sense of this. The fact that some people were waiting for the word votes. You know, it's more like we have an issue of semantics. We want vote to be attached to the campaign that we're seeing already going on. And why should we even have campaign in 2025 against what the law of the nation says for how elections and their campaign should be shadowed for the next general election, please? I would like you to unmute your microphone if you can hear me, please, so that we can communicate seamlessly, please. Can you hear me, Barrister Asi Adams? Please, I'll need you to unmute your microphone, unmute your device. We'll bring it back to the studio. I guess we're having a little glitch with the gadget of Barrister Asi Adams. Mr. Delefanimo, we'll bring it back to you now. Okay, we're looking at the word vote to be the thing that maybe opposition parties or political parties need to attach to any campaign for you to know that, yes, we are now campaigning and all of that. What do you have to say about that? And what does that also speak to? The way politicians or political parties or their platforms have been flouting the law and constitution that we have. They talked about the duration for campaign, when campaign should begin and when it should end before the next election.
You talked about votes for election.
Adding votes to campaign, because that was what we learned when people were saying there's nothing like votes as you, in most of the campaign things that we've seen, the chips, the posters, even the branded vehicle and all that.
Well, there are two questions you just raised, and when campaign should properly start.
Exactly.
Those two questions are supposed to be answered by INEC, the umpire. But for the sake of this discussion, I want to say that just like that doctor said, INEC should take charge of this. INEC should let, there's a duration allotted to campaign. You could be building your campaign strategy without the full glare of the media. You could also begin preparations, but the real campaign starts at a particular time towards an election. And it is not even a matter of party, just not one party. Every political party that are participating, that is participating in this forthcoming election should be reined in and told that there is a law. The fact that
there's
you don't
a timeline.
There's a law that guides processes to election.
All right, now, beautiful. Dele, let's briefly move away from this because there's another interesting story around what the president is doing. Last week, the president submitted nominees for ambassadorial positions. Yesterday, he sent another 65 names. And inside those 65 names, we saw...
Is this 65 names yesterday?
65.
No,
yes.
the total is 65.
Okay, total is 65.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
beautiful.
They
sent the names that he sent yesterday.
Earlier, and then sent, I think
we sent 65
34
names yesterday, but that's not an issue. The issue now is the people that made that list. Now, we saw the former sole administrator of River State, Ibok Ibas, make the list. He's former chief of naval staff. We also saw Damba Zoa, former defense minister and chief of army staff, make that list. We also saw Chioma Ohakim, the wife of former Imo State Governor Ikedi Ohakim, make that list. Just like Relu Adebayo, Ajimobi of Oyo State. Now, people are asking, Ibok Ibas, is that some kind of reward for a job well done as sole administrator of River State? You know the story surrounding his appointment and his tenure, his stint as sole administrator. Is the president using that position?
Are we singling out Ibas in this?
No, I'm asking, Nigerians are asking,
Okay.
And not just Ibas, like people like collectively, Reno is FFK, is the president rewarding people, that helped him in one way or the other?
Let me use the word of Buhari. He said, in politics, those who sow will reap. And those who don't sow shouldn't expect reaping. That's the life of a politician. We are not saying here that it is right.
Okay.
But that's the way politics is played. Let's go back in time. Obasanjo, when he came into government, the first set of people he appointed were those people that had worked with him as military head of state or those that are his friends. And you recall that Buhari also said, will I go and pick somebody I don't know in place of people I have worked with? That said, you see, for me, the same thing that qualifies Ibas is the same thing that qualifies Dambazao. Dambazao was once chief of army staff. Ibas was chief of naval staff. Are was DG of DSS. Okay was DG of NIA. And on like that. And in this, you appoint career diplomats and you also appoint non-career diplomats. Non-career ambassadors. So across the states, there will be influence on who to pick and who not to pick.
Now, when we quote people like what Buhari said and say in politics and reinforce those comments and turn around at the same time to say, though it is not right, what exactly are we doing?
What I'm saying is that if it is on the consideration that the fact that these people at one time or the other had influenced certain things in support of the current administration and they are being compensated for this position, it's not right. But if on the basis of the fact that they are qualified, for instance, Dambazao is a PhD holder, apart from being
former chief of army staff,
Just like Buratai was also appointed an ambassador to Republic of Benin. It's the same thing that qualifies Dambazel.
Okay.
And it's the same thing that qualifies Ibas.
Well, I understand that other guests would also like to react to this. Barrister Eze Eluchie, let me ask you this very quickly too. Should ambassadorial positions, that's the focus now, should it be used as a reward for party, for the politics being played at party level? Should it be, and where then is the stance of throwing your hands open to everybody who is capable to deliver and choosing only those that are capable in that sense? Very quickly, please. Well, if your device is muted, please do take it off mute so we can hear you. Although we still have Barrister Eze Eluchie with us. Well, he seems to be having a network problem. I like this from the angle of the law. So, Barrister Asim Adams, if you can hear me, if you heard the question, please do go ahead.
Great.
Well, Dr. Bright then.
Though you say from the side of the law, let me say it from my own side. In all fairness, there are some things we cannot just gloss over. In as much as we expect the best and objectivity from our politicians on this point now is the president. Yes, like was mentioned, if you sow, you will reap. If you don't sow, don't expect anything. If competent hands are not found in their party, they can go elsewhere to look for. But if they found competent hands in their party, they make use of it.
Okay.
The choice, so long the law allows them to make the choice, then they also have the right to make choice from anywhere that they want to make choice. They want to make choice from, but then it cannot be subjective to us. Because again, we've had government that have complained that there are some saboteurs in their administration. So you wouldn't want somebody to go and bring an outright enemy. It would be like the Trojan horse that was brought into Troy, and it destroyed their whole city. So if there are competent hands within their party, I don't see any reason why they would go outside, unless we now extract the criteria for this appointment and realize that these persons don't meet this criteria. Then you now start asking, on what basis were they appointed? Then we can now start talking about maybe because of their political affiliation. But first, we need to look at this list or this ambassadorial position. What and what would make one to be eligible? Then we'll match it with those that have been appointed. Let's forget about the sentiment of if they all come from the political party, there's nothing we can do about it, because they didn't appoint them because they're political party. We are the only one that may be assuming that this is what it is. What we should be looking at is these persons, did they actually meet up with the criteria for them to be nominated as ambassador? I think that's
all right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bright Onyeva Cooker. Well, we'll keep our eyes on the list and the ambassadors. We know there are career ambassadors and there are non-career ambassadors, and the missions, the staffers at the mission, of course, will help them execute the job that they have been appointed or nominated for. But let's get into another conversation now. We hear that Indigo are the greatest stakeholders in the Nigerian project. Let's discuss this, where it's coming from, and every issue around this particular subject.
ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not speed. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Join Moses, Chukuma, and Fina on Voice of the People TM. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice. Glad to have you back as still VOP this morning. President Bola Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, has declared that the Igbo people remain the greatest stakeholders in Nigeria's unity and progress, a statement that has sparked widespread reactions across the country. Speaking at the Imo Economic Stakeholder Summit in Owerri, Tinubu praised the Igbo for their geographical mobility, economic enterprise, and educational ambition, stressing that half of Abuja is owned by Indibo, and half of Lagos is largely populated by them. And some were saying, why wouldn't you hear owned by Indibo too? But all the same, he emphasized that Nigeria is stronger than the Igbos as part of the national dispensation, pledging that his administration will provide the tools and platform for them to thrive. The remark, amplified by major media outlets and trending on social platforms, have been hailed by some as overdue recognition of the Igbo people and their immense contribution in the country, while others view it as a strategic political move ahead of 2027. The president's comments have reignited conversation about national integration, equity, and the lingering scar of the Biafran War, which many Nigerians debate on whether their acknowledgement will translate into concrete policies for the Southeast. The Apex Igbo Social Cultural Organization, Hanes Ndibo, has cautiously welcomed the statement, urging the federal government to back words with action through infrastructure development, economic empowerment, and political inclusion. We have with us in the studio Mr. Delefanimo, a veteran reporter and a political and public affairs commentator. We also have joining us virtually Mr. Eze Eluche, Esquire, attorney at law, and also a public and political affairs analyst. And we have Dr. Bright Onyebokoko, who is a medical doctor and public and political affairs commentator, as well as a coordinator of Indomitable Youth Organization of Nigeria, member of the Coalition of Civil Society Organization. He's also a human rights activist. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us. Let me start off with you, Mr. Delefanimo. The vice president went for the Imo State Stakeholders Forum, where he made a statement, attributing it to the president that Igbos are contributing largely to everything, or more than, let's say, 80 or 90% of the things happening in Nigeria, he called them the greatest stakeholders in Nigeria, the unity and the progress and even economy and all that. What do you have to say about this? Because some people are of the opinion that this is more like a political statement to wall the Igbos talk for the 2027 election. As others are saying that, okay, fine, it's a good one. At least the Igbos have been acknowledged, and that might help to water down the issue of marginalization, which the Igbos have been crying foul for.
See, there are two issues in this: the political angle and then the real facts behind those statements. Now, let me start with the political angle. You see, some of these people, when they get to places where they want to be accepted, they say a lot of things to assuage the feelings of people around such areas. So, that said, now, let's be factual. And I am saying this from the bottom of my heart, that it is actually true that Igbos are enterprising and Igbos are everywhere. And today, there was this joke that anywhere you don't see an Igbo man, flee, because it means there is nothing of substance in that place. And the average Igbo man frees his heart. There are some sections of this country that, no matter how rich they are, they will not move out of where the concentration of their people are. They prefer having a room to themselves in such places to building a mansion elsewhere, even when they have the money to build such mansion. The only place where they exhibit their wealth is Abuja, and for good reason. Another thing again is you can't take away resilience from that race. Sometimes I discuss with some of my friends, I say, sometimes when I look at somebody, I'll look at him and say, this person looks like somebody who had been there, who had been strong, who had been rich, but somehow is going through rough patches. But not minding those rough patches, he still feels himself and he still carries on and would even do that job diligently. So look at there is one model that nobody has been able to achieve, this apprenticeship thing in the Igbo land, where somebody would have to serve his master for a period of time, and while living, he's not going to be paid salary, but he would be established for him to continue. Now look at the generation of people that would have benefited from such acts. So all of these, when put together, you will know that the Igbo man is resilient, is intentional, he knows what he wants at any particular point in time, and the energy they give, this is coming from me as my personal opinion. The energy that drives them, it's amazing. So, to the extent of such, I think Shetima is right.
Okay, no, Shetima is right, but let's look at it from the prism of what the Nigerian nation has done to the Igbo nation, and what should they do, to bring the Igbo nation closer, to the mainstream of Nigeria's national life. When Peter Mba, about 2 months ago, when Peter Mba joined the APC from the PDP, the same Shetima said that, look, with Peter Mba's defection from the PDP to the ADC, it has brought Nigerians, Igbos into the mainstream of Nigerian politics. And people were asking, what has Peter Mba's got to do with the 3 R's, the rehabilitation, reintegration, and reconstruction after the war? So how far, or what do you think that the nation should do further, to ensure that those 3 R's, are brought to life, for the benefit of Nigeria's unity?
You see, if you must do that, it's a two-way thing.
Okay.
The rest of Nigerians and the Igbo nation. You see, you need to come out of your cocoon and embrace handshake across the Niger for us to be able to
have that feeling of camaraderie. You know? So, in doing this, we need to, for instance, in Yoruba land, if you are not good, no matter how close you are to the race, they would shut you out. But if you are good, you will be embraced. And look at the last election. Tinubu lost in Lagos. Heaven did not fall. But we have not seen that happen in the East. When Peter Obi contested the last election, the whole of the Eastern region supported him wholesale. And that gives us the impression that it is only when somebody from that race is in the ballot box, that you are intentional to support it. So such things also gives a kind of feeling to the rest of the country. Okay, but you also recall that talking about Peter be winning wholesomely in the East, you also understand that there have been times when the Igbo people had their sons on the ballot and they voted for outsiders. Well, on party basis.
Okay.
You know, for instance, I tell you that PDP used to have a clean sweep of the 5 southeastern states in elections,
yes,
regardless of who is fielded.
Even when their sons were in other political parties contesting for presidency, they ignored those their sons and voted for outsiders because they knew that the outsiders were better than their sons.
An example of that?
Philip Umadi contested, Ojukwu contested. We didn't vote for Ojukwu. We voted for Olusegun Obasanjo.
The only reason why such happened was the fact that Ojukwu didn't spread the tentacle of that party beyond a region.
Okay.
It wasn't a national party. So there was no way anybody could have voted for Ojukwu at the national level at that time.
Interesting.
So that is, what I'm saying is, the currency of what has happened, if there's going to be an election, we should maintain that level of whoever is good should be regarded as good, whoever is not good should be regarded as not good, regardless of saying it's coming from the country. Obasanjo was not voted for in the Southwest.
All right.
Tinubu lost in Lagos.
Just the political party was what amplified him getting the vote and all that.
So
Thank you so much.
Some of these things would also make us embrace each other, because either we like it or not, no particular region can win election in this country without the support of other regions.
Thank you so much. Let's take the conversation to Mr. Ezeluche. What do you have to say about this? The sudden statement made by the vice president when he went to represent the president in Imo economic stakeholders, saying that the Tinubu administration is praising the Igbos for their geographical mobility, the economic enterprise, and also educational ambition, stressing that half of Abuja is owned by Indibo and half of Lagos, largely populated by them and all that. Help us walk around this, as the people that have been given such leverage still suffer the issue of marginalization. All right, Dr. Brighton Ivakuko, if you had the question, please, I would like you to react to it, please.
Well, if I have to speak on this statement, Indigo are the greatest stakeholders in the Nigerian project. I see it as a statement to massage ego, just to make them have a sense of belonging, because those are words and the actions so far has not actually helped. And I also see it as a way to pacify the Indigo based on what happened recently with respect to some of the agitations around maybe something like Nnamdi Kanu and some other things that have also happened within to many of those Igbos who are doing businesses in other parts of this country. If they are actually the greatest stakeholders in the Nigerian project, then there should be actions also to support them, to put them in proper shape, And they should not be those who are always being attacked at different times. If you look at when the 2023 election was coming up in Lagos State, there were words that were thrown at the same Igbo. If you hear about Kaduna, with some of the killings and some of the things that happened, the targets were still more around the Igbos. I don't know so much about what has been happening to them probably in Abuja. But again, if they are the greatest projects, then it should be backed with action. You respect stakeholders. If these stakeholders would actually make your system work, you respect them. You hear more from them. You get them involved. You make them to participate so that that thing that makes them great, you can actually benefit from it. So I don't know the context or that the reason why he made that statement. I don't know what his reasons are, but if we take it literally, beyond the literal statement, there should be effort to actually get them involved, make them to participate, and tap that resources which that they are made of that can actually benefit Nigeria. And above all, they should also be saddled with some responsibility in the areas where maybe their expertise can actually help the Nigerian projects. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Now, when you talk about getting the Igbos involved and making them part of the stakeholders, some of the opinion that the Igbos have not really healed, or that the process for the complete healing of the aftermath of the war that broke out between Nigeria and the Biafrans in 1967, a war that lingered for 3 years and ended in 1970, that the Nigerian government have not really done anything to bring the Igbos back to the fold. Recall, my colleague in the studio made mention of what, Gowon's after the Novington of Vanquish statement, the reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation. Igbos have not really seen such play out even within their region. How inclusive is it we have that we see Nigerian government playing with the Igbos? We're looking at the issue of inclusion now in government and every other thing.
See, we should not shy away from the fact that, yes, despite we say, okay, let healing take place, let there be reconstruction and every other thing, but there is still this suspicion that if they are given that opportunity, they may want to bring the Biafra agenda to the bear. So they're kind of checkmating them, putting them in some kind of positions that may not allow them exercise such authority as the case may be. So whenever you see maybe an Igbo being put in some form of position, there is always this Biafra reason. Maybe they will seek opportunity, wanting to actualize that Biafra dream. So you keep seeing them being, well, let me use the term, kind of marginalized, actually. So if they are the greatest stakeholders, then that marginalization should stop. That stigma should stop if truly we actually want them to heal. Because yes, most of those who experienced the Civil War, those who participated in the Civil War, many of them are already above maybe 70, going to 80 or thereabout, and many of them have even died. So those who are still carrying the pains are their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren. So we can say, okay, well, for them to heal faster, because definitely they will be hearing the stories. They would have tried to hear the stories of what happened, and that will kind of have them to make them to nurse that wound for a very long time. So if we have actions in place that are at variance with what will be increasing that wound, the healing will be faster and the reconciliation will be better, the reintegration will be better. But it's a situation whereby somehow you still see them being kept in terms of decision making, in terms of some action, or you just look, okay, let me go and pick one from them and bring up to say, okay, well, after all, we've actually picked somebody from among them. The question is, does that person represent their interest? No. So if we want to do it, let it be holistic, let it be objective, let it be factual. glaring to every one of us. If you say, okay, we are rebuilding, what actually are we rebuilding? When did the rebuilding start? What stage is it? We're talking about integration. What is the actual integration that we are talking about? So all these things put together will actually tell you that, oh, these people have a sense of belonging. If you look at people from other regions that have been involved, it's different from what you have around those from the south. So there is no guess maybe trying to say, let us mind west. What we are seeing is enough to tell you, are these people actually included? And of course, the vice president went to represent the president. He should prove to Nigerians that these persons are actually the greatest stakeholders in the Nigerian project.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brighton. Mr. Dilifanima, before we move on to the next conversation, do you think that this, you said, is a political statement? Are we seeing the Igbos?
I saw it as a political statement, but beneath it is some facts.
Okay. The Ohanese Indibo come up to say something about this too. They were like, that they want to see everything that the president has talked, or the president through the vice president spoke about in Imo State coming to fruition. You know, saying something about they want to see the statement fall through infrastructure development, economic empowerment, and even political inclusion. Do you think we're going to see that play out? Since the last administration under President Muhammadu Buhari, we saw more like, well, I say total neglect of the Southeast over the fact that they did not vote for him. And from what I'm seeing now in this present administration too, it's more kind of tilting towards that, you know, where people are still talking about the marginalization and the absence of the federal government in the Southeast. Do you think they are becoming a bit wiser and, you know, more vocal?
You see, it's a two-way thing. I recall that when Obasanjo came and he had his first term without the support of the Southwest. And the second coming, he cleverly and intentionally worked towards bringing the Southwest into the mainstream of politics in the country, which was PDP at that time. And the sing-song would always be, come to the center. We have always been playing regional politics over the years. During UPN, during Action Congress, AG, Action Group, you know. But somehow, Obasanjo dragged us. Though it's not as if it totally paid off. But then, it dragged us and we were able to have some measure of claiming to be part of the center. You see, what I would see in all of this is, sometimes when you look at the way these things are shaped, until recently, I was an apostle of why is it always the North taking the largest share of what goes around in the country. But until recently, I just sat back and said, look, the North is seemingly monolithic. They still do the United States governors thing and all of that. Everybody that is from Kwara that speaks Yoruba, the Kogi person that speaks Yoruba, is still considered as a northerner. So if they are going to distribute, and some of these places, they have peculiar names. You know, some are traditional names, some are Islamic names. So when they are distributing national resources, the North would always take the lion's share because they have 3 regions. But here in the South, the Southwest is standing alone. You don't expect 3 regions to share the same thing with you as a Southwesterner, as just one zone. The Southeast is alone. The South is alone. So by the time they are sharing, when you now hear Ubong, you know it's South-South. When you hear Delhi, it's Southwest. When you hear Chukuma, it's Southeast. But together, the three regions in the North, when you hear Usman, you have to begin to investigate to know where Usman is coming from. Usman may be speaking Yoruba, but Usman Mohammed would always seem as northerner. But in the true sense of it, it may be a Yoruba person in Kwara or Kogi. So these are issues that we have to contend with. And the best approach to all of this is a handshake across the Niger.
Thank you so much, Mr. Delefani Moy, for submission. We'll go on a quick break and we'll come back. The topic of conversation we'll dissect, within the little period that we have still, because I was told now that we're pressed for time. And that is actually how Nnamdi Kanu's prison transfer is covered in court as judge rejects his brother's legal move, stating that he does not have up to 6 years or even he's not a lawyer, demanding the presence of a legal luminary for that case. Do also say we'd also dissect that after this quick break. Is still VOP this morning. The legal battle surrounding detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu took a dramatic turn as a court in Abuja heard his motion seeking transfer from Sokoto prison, where he claims his life is in danger and conditions are unbearable. Kanu, who has been in custody facing terrorism-related charges, argued that Sokoto prison is unsafe and unstable for his health, insisting he should be moved to a facility in Abuja. His lawyers told the court that the prisoner lacked adequate medical care and exposes him to a threat, while supporters outside the court described the situation as a deliberate attempt to break his spirit. Mr. Fanimo, good thing was to have you in the studio, because you have been quite vocal about the issues surrounding Nnamdi Kanu, saying that you're certain that he'll be released anytime soon. And we also saw the visitation of Alex Oti, the governor of Abia State, when he went to visit the president to talk about the possible release of Nnamdi Kanu. What do you have to say about this? They're appealing the Sokoto prison for him to be moved somewhere in Abuja or any other correctional facility.
You see, I expected this to happen. Long before, even when the trial started, I already saw the end of the trial. And that was why I was stridently making case for political solution to this problem. You see, I'm not too sure if a convict has the right to determine where he should be kept in the prison, except if a lawyer says that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that I've seen people taken. Obasanjo was taken to Gashua prison. I've seen people taken to prisons that are far flung from their natural abode. I've seen convicts that they feel right inside that particular prison yard is not safe. They will take him away. There was a particular guy that was taken away from Ado-Ekiti prison to Abeokuta prison because he had too many friends in that prison, and they feel that it's not safe to keep him there so that he doesn't orchestrate a jailbreak and all that. So for me, I don't know if he still has the right to ask that he should be taken to a particular prison. If he's saying that Sokoto prison is not conducive for him, he shouldn't be the one to choose that he must come back to Abuja, because minutes will be read to it that maybe he has some other ulterior motives. That's why he's particularly asking for Abuja.
All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Brighton Wakiko, let's get your opinion on this. And also, recall that the presiding judge rejected the attempt by Nnamdi Kanu's brother to represent him in court, stressing that only qualified lawyers will at least 6 years of practice can appear before the bench, not an individual at all. As Nigerians are reacting also, some people are criticizing the fact that Nnamdi Kanu represented himself in court after expelling his lawyers.
Well, first and foremost, I think this is where the Legal Aid Council of Nigeria can come in. They have a set of lawyers who have been employed, so they should be able to make one available for him. But since the case has been judged and he has been sentenced, well, I think this is the first time I'm hearing a situation whereby there's maybe a convict will be saying he wants a change of prison for whatever reason. And like Daily Fanimo just mentioned also, yes, he may say there are threats and some other things in that particular Sokoto prison, considering the peculiarity of the area and some of the things he has said in the past. But now making a specific choice is another challenging thing. If it's not safe there, it's not okay there, I think that's enough. Then let the authorities now look into it. But one thing I must say is that everything surrounding this arrest, trial, eventual sentence, as many other things, I still believe, in my opinion, they are all politically orchestrated, and that is what I see it to be. And of course, the outcome also will also be a political negotiation. It's just that I feel some of the parties involved have not come to the required compromise, because everything surrounding this case are just like kind of new, but I don't want to say they are innovative. They are kind of, for someone to just wake up and say he does not want his lawyers shouting in court and all the drama that took place. Well, I see it as politically motivated thing, and it will also have a political end up. But again, threats to life is not something that anyone should take lightly, because we also know that a lot of things also happen in some of those prisons. So they should also look into that area and do all they can to keep him alive, since he eventually escaped the death sentence.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brighton Ibokoko, press for time. I believe the story will also appear before the cover pages of the National Daily. There you have Chukwuma and Moses, and if possible, you and Mr. Delefanimo analyze the stories the way it should be. This is how we can go on today's VOP this morning. We appreciate Delefanimo, seasoned reporter and a public affairs analyst, and also Dr. Bright Ibokoko, a medical doctor, and also a public and political affairs commentator. We had Mr. Ezra Lucia, Esquire, attorney at law, and a public and political affairs commentator to join the conversation, though I think network glitches couldn't let us extend his stay to this point. Thank you so much, the backroom staff, the ingest manager, the director of the show, the producer of the show, the sound engineer, and every other person that made this morning's show to be the way it is. Thank you. We sincerely appreciate your presence and the work you're doing behind the camera. On behalf of my colleague in the studio, Chukwuma Okoro, Moses Humphrey, I am Fina Okechukwu. Bye for now. Enjoy your weekend. Have a nice day.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apeon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please just watch.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand. From the views on the streets,
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents,
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging 1-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
2564 is coming up on Barney 9, right?
2564 Atlantic.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
My name is Insensitive. They call me the Oga Patapata of them and the general overseer of them all. Every man, every woman has got a voice where integrity is the volume. So this is Voice of the People's TV. Voice of the People's TV. So this is the people's voice. And the people's voice is the voice of God. That's the voice populi in Latin. The people's voice is the voice of God. So keep watching Voice of the People. In fact, my name is Voice of the People. Keep watching MC Adobe King.
Hi guys, my name is Kagan. I am Nigeria's biggest tech content creator, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Voice of the People TV. Keep watching, enjoy, and you're welcome.
My name is MC Alamano. They say call me Enjoyment Landlord. It's VOP TV. Keep watching VOP TV. Don't touch it down. Even if you want to touch it down, increase the volume. If you don't increase the volume, I told me.
My name is Collins Agawabe, popularly known as No Maiden, but last, more than No Maiden. Or more. Not be all also the cook right at the fry plantain. We keep on watching VOP TV. Hey, the voice of the people, the voice of Edo. If you now want to get the authentic news for Edo, the way it be, that's why they show and they want to cut anything come on. A VOP TV.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again. And this is Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukwuma Okoro. Thanks for joining us again.
And yes, of course, we have joining us virtually Dr. Bright Anyova Kuka. Dr. Bright, thank you very much for staying back. And also Dele Fanimo, a public affairs commentator, is right here with us in the studio. Thank you very much for your patience and time.
My pleasure.
All right, so Dr. Bright and Nigerians, let's dive into it, really. Let's look at the headlines from the dailies and react as well. Now, you too can be part of the conversation. You can drop your reactions because we're streaming on YouTube at Voice of the People TV. As Voice of the People TV, that's how we appear up on YouTube. You can drop your views to the headlines being shared right underneath the streaming tag there. Okay. Now, from Daily Trust, these are the headlines here. ADC Obi flay Tinubu over early campaign. President asks Senate to confirm Ibas. Dambazao, 62 others as ambassadors. Again, court restrains VIO from impounding vehicles, imposing fines. Nigeria imports 12.8 trillion naira worth of petrol in 15 months. And the bottom strip there, challenges before new defense minister. All right. Now, when you flip the pages of Business Day newspaper, we see this headline. Tinubu appoints Ibas, Dambazao, 68 others for ambassadorial positions. 34 career, 31 non-career. I think it's a new list.
It's a new list.
So it's 68 added to the 32.
65 added to the 32.
65?
Yes. The new list, the list of yesterday is 65.
Okay.
You know, we had 3 initially for UK, US, and France.
Yes.
Then after that, we had, I think, 32 that included Reno, Mercury, and other FFK.
Okay.
And Ikbazu, Guan. Then yesterday's list was 65. Because the total is actually supposed to be 100. 100 and... I think we have now 109 missions outside. And we need to fill up all of those positions. So all fell swoop.
Okay. So this is it. This is maybe I'll just read a little into the story. So, well, we know the story already, but anyway, let's read a little into it regardless. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of 68 ambassador designates, comprising 34 career diplomats and 31 non-career nominees, alongside 3 earlier nominees already cleared by the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs. So the full list released yesterday reflects a spread across all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, with several former governors, senators, retired military officers, and seasoned civil servants, included among those selected to represent Nigeria abroad. The career diplomats on the list include Wabiola Ezuwo Chukwemeka from Abia State, and then we also have Maimuna Ibrahim from Adamawa State, Ekpeji Monica Okechukwu from Anambra, and Mohammed Mahmoud Lele from Bauchi. Others are Endoni Sindap from Bayelsa, Ahmed Mohammed Mungunu from Borno, and Jed Adams Niokon Michael from Cross River. Well, those are, a few of the names there.
Yes. And the list is a quite interesting list. You know, if you put together all the lists, all the people, the 3 that were cleared earlier, one of them was former Director General of the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, which is more like the outside, the arm that takes care of Nigeria's security outside, more like the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA of the United States of America. It's a perfect fit. A few people there that I see, I'm impressed with the list. When people talk about Ebok Ete Ebaz, they forget that being rewarded. They also forget that Ebaz served as Chief of Naval Staff. And that is a high-level position in any country, in any part of the world. You also talk about Dambazoa. Dambazoa served as Chief of Defense Staff and enough to be an ambassador, especially since Nigeria is passing through trying times with regard to insecurity and all of that. So these are people that understand the intricacies of the insecurity here, and don't forget that they will also be given diplomatic trainings, before they go outside, especially for those of them that don't have that background. Because if you look at the United States of America, they also choose people within the security circle to serve as ambassadors. And we recall that Colin Powell, who happened to be the Secretary of State, American Secretary of State under Bush II, was the nation's chief diplomat by virtue of his position as the Secretary of State of the United States of America. He had a military background. So people like Dambazao, Ibok Ete Ibaz, that was DIA, NIA Director General, they are perfect fit.
And even
the DGDSS and all of that. And the other person served as DG of NIA, Institute of International Affairs. Okay, served as what? So these are perfect fits. But you also have some names that don't fit in those.
That's probably about Reno Mercury and the rest. Yeah, those individuals. Some people feel they shouldn't be there. Is it compensation for speaking up for the president? And then, recent videos of Reno Mercury has surfaced online where he led a protest against the president in UK, and then chanting, Ole and the rest.
There's no crime in repenting.
Oh, so it's assumed that
somebody said it when he was chairman of APC, that once you cross to our fold, and then we bless you and go and sin no more. So,
but what are your expectations?
The point here is, like one of the titles of James Sally Chase I read, that particular title says, "You never know with women." It's the same thing here. You never know with politicians. If you are following the tide of a politician, by the time he swings, the tide may sweep you away, and you won't enjoy the sympathy of anybody. So, just like now, everybody is hailing Aregbesola is this, Aregbesola is that. What makes you think that Aregbesola cannot come back to APC before 2027? That's the wild life of a politician. Who would ever think Moise Banire that wrote terrible articles, granted interviews? Is it Pedro you want to talk about? Is it Afikuyomi? And some of them like that. You see, some Wike that is now romancing with APC once said, how can I leave malaria to go and induce myself with cancer at the stamina? Now it's with the cancer now. So some of these things are there, and that's why I don't trust any politician. Buala was riling Tinubu.
Is this in the interest of Nigeria?
Certainly it is not. Certainly it is not, because when we say that politicians are like that and we try to reinforce that position, it takes away something from the morality that we try to preach.
Is politics in Nigeria?
No, there should be.
No,
there should be.
It shouldn't be all about politics.
It shouldn't be all about politics. You understand? I understand that the president needs to reward some people, but there are positions that you shouldn't use as a reward bait. Somebody like Reno Omokri is trying to pull down a lot, from his page. But those things are out there. People already have them. And so we imagine that you send Reno to a place like Germany as Nigerian ambassador to Germany. And he gets there, during a meeting, somebody brings out his tweet and tells him, you said that your president is a drug lord. You mounted a campaign against him in London, chased him away with a megaphone and all of that. And now you turn around to tell the whole world that this man is a perfect fit for the job. What position are you trying to, to portray? We have FFK has served as aviation minister, sound lawyer, very well educated, Oxbridge and all of that. Perfect, But must you reward him with an ambassadorial position? Look at what Daniel Buana is doing. Putting the integrity of the party and the government. These are people that say if you give the president 30 years, that he wouldn't do anything. So what changed in 2 years? And all of that. I'm not saying that he shouldn't reward them, but the kind of reward that that's what we are looking at. We have a large pool of very intelligent Nigerians that could go to represent Nigeria outside. Not some of these people that Nigerians consider as charlatans. Okay, do you see the campaign that Mike Arnold is mounting against Reno? On Facebook, on Twitter, across social media handles and all of that. And this is the man that is going to represent Nigeria in the outside world. It doesn't look good for us. And the president himself keeps doing damage to his own integrity. You know what people say, look, the president is simply choosing people like him to go and represent Nigeria. So what does that tell you about Nigeria? The president could do, I don't have any problem with rewarding loyalists and all of that. But to a square peg in a square hole, a round peg in a round hole, that does it for me. Because
I'm very sure that you can still find those people within the APC or within the supporters of the APC.
That are good,
people that are fit.
clean.
Yeah, there are people that are fit for the job.
Yeah, I agree with you. But Fani Kayode is good enough.
I don't have a problem with Fani. I don't have a problem with FFK. Former aviation minister, very well trained, very brilliant. He didn't say as much as Reno. I mean, you can hardly find maybe one or two things that he said about the president that are not quite clearly damaging, that are uncomplimentary. But then he's a perfect fit. I don't have a problem with him.
Oh, well, let's look at a few more headlines, move away from that conversation. Now, NLC threatens national protest over escalating killings, abductions in Nigeria. That's the headline. No need to go into the story because the headline explains itself, explains the story. So, yes, that's from the business.
I mean, anything must be seen to be talking. But what is the strength? What is the weight of their intervention?
But it's a good thing that NLC is
That's what I'm saying.
About insecurity.
In the time past, such statements will elicit some kind of reaction from government. Because NLC was formidable at that point, even during the military era. But look at what NLC has become today. So it's not going to resonate with Nigerians as much as it should resonate because of the quality of people in the NLC today.
It's not just about the quality of people, what the NLC itself has become.
The quality of people determines, the leadership determines the level of...
The NLC, even before Ajero had started taking a nosedive.
Yes, now the moment they brought in Waba, a government appointee who is a civil servant, how can a civil servant lead a protest against government? It's not possible.
So government was intentional in trying to destroy the NLC. And I think they have done that.
They started it in 2011.
Because when you, like this thing now, I'm sure not a lot of people will stop by as they're flipping through when they see NLC.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, not a lot of people.
Nobody will want to pay attention.
Oshomole, under who again? Hassan Sumono.
Yes.
When we're as students, when we're growing up.
When Kokori was in Lupeng and all that.
And all of that.
Just
these are very powerful.
In fact, that kind of story would attract front page.
Front page. But look at where it is stuck inside, So NLC has lost that vigor. Not just the NLC, you also discovered that civil society organizations were more vibrant during the military. And I said maybe because at that point, there was this kind of unity of strength and purpose by the Nigerian people, that were united.
Because we had a sole enemy,
which is the military. So there were
and we wanted them out at all
costs.
But
over time, I think the last man standing is the SERAP.
Yes,
SERAP is the only one. What do they do? They just issue statements and
they go to court,
file and all of that. You don't see CLO is no longer active. With again, Klein is no longer active. CD is not active. Ayo, what's that name? Ayo Badoku is dead. This is Ayo Obe.
No, Ayo Badoku. I don't think he's dead.
Odumakin.
Odumakin
is dead. God bless you. So
the moment Ayo Badoku's son was arrested among those of a robbery suspects was when.
But I think it was COVID that took him.
No.
Odumakin.
No, Odumakin died
during
COVID. Not during COVID. It was shortly after COVID.
But it was COVID that took it. Anyway, that's by the way. But the import of the message is that, look, we need a more vibrant civil society organization.
But the incubator is moribund, which is our various campuses. Those days, we had activists. Today, we have cultists.
No. I don't think cultism is even taking a nosedive. We have youths that are more interested in either making money or
they're
flexing,
interested in other things.
What we are saying is the killing started from the campuses. That VCs were disbanding, student unionism, suspending, or all through the last 10 years. In fact, it takes a lot of persuasion for VCs to accommodate student unionism in the various campuses now. And so, these are the incubating machines.
I think the students' union are still active, but they do more of... The young men are not interested. I asked my son, you want to get involved in students' union policy? He said, no, for what? I said, so what is their interest? He said he wants to finish school and start making money and all of that. That's his own concern.
That is it.
And they are more interested in flexing,
When my son,
their phone is their best friend, they wake up in the morning, they are on the phone.
Impact of social media on our society.
And our society and all of that.
And then the other programs that come up on TV, it hasn't even helped in forming the interest in young people. So talking about opposing government, policies. I think Nigerians largely care less.
And the very few of them that get interested, you know what they do? What they do is to emulate the political class. You know, you see the students union president.
They subsume themselves as
who is guarded by a Mupol, Nigerian Mupol, and he has like 3 or 4 cars in his convoy, tinted glasses, and all of that. He has a special apartment.
That was a particular student union leader.
He eats a special meal in school and all of that. So when that person, at that level, you know what? The person is aspiring to become a legislator the moment
politician, of course.
Politician. So, but there are very few, and few of them.
There was a particular student union leader about 2 or 3 years ago that had 33 special assistants.
Special assistants. Why wouldn't he? When you have a councillor in one of the states up north has 111 appointees. Councillor, I'm not talking about local government.
I'm talking about a ward.
Over a ward. I'm talking about a councillor has 111 appointees, special aides and all of that.
Yeah, mouths to feed.
Mouths to feed, you know. And that person, the next move will become local government chairman. And don't be surprised one day you see him speaker
of course,
of the State House of Assembly and next governor.
He can even rise from being chairman to becoming governor, depending on the location and the people behind him.
People that are willing to prop him up.
Okay, let's take this headline from Nigerian Tribune. Exodus of oil workers looms. Henderson warns. What's your reaction to that headline? Now, I understand that we have Dr. Bright Onyebukuka wanting to chime in on the conversation. I hope the network is clearer now. Dr. Bright, please. Okay, good to have you. Good to have you join us.
Okay, thought people forgot me before. Sorry, before you move to the other. Yes, before we move to the other topic.
Okay.
I think I really like the aspect of what we're talking about, the NLC. Ordinarily, NLC is Labour Congress made up of people, not retired personnel, people who are in active service. So for those who would head any of those unions, there should be people who should be objective enough to stand for the needs of the people. So talking about maybe in the past, they used to have their, when they speak, people have to listen and tell the government, is because then they know what they are doing. But today, the quest for cash in exchange for what the needs of the people are, has taken over unionism. So they don't see it as a way to fight for the needs of the people. Again, they see it as an opportunity to what? Make money for themselves. And I also want to say something about unionism as it is. Now, before now, if you look at the SUG, for example, the students heard stories about men and women who had unionism very, very firm as students. And today, many of those persons have gone into politics. Some of them are holding political appointments. So the idea they have then, I don't want to say maybe they know better now. So they are the ones quelling or asking the young ones to calm down. Because if, like NLC, for example, now, if the federal government wants to deal with NLC, who are they going to send? They will send the likes of Adam Toshomole, who will go there and they will see him as supposed to be a mentor to guide them. But you realize that when Adam Toshomole is talking to them now, he's not going to talk to them the way he was doing in his own unionism at that time. It will not come with the idea of you know. Some of us as parents, we have our children in tertiary institution. We don't allow them. Once we get information about, oh, something is going to happen, we call them to come back home. So those who have been mentored, who are supposed to be role models to the young ones who are coming in the space of activism, they have all been compromised in one way or the other. So who will encourage these young ones? And for the civil society organizations, they are still there. However, the media will still help in this area, promoting the voice or the voices of those who still stand for objectivity. But however, many of the media houses, they will tell you they have to pay their bills, they have to, they run on diesel, they run on this. So me, for example, I have my voice. I know what the people are passing through. I want to talk to them, but I don't have the millions to pay for airtime to speak on TV. But these politicians can come, pay whatever they want to pay, and they air their view for Nigerians to hear. Whatever thing they are saying will be on the front line of the newspaper. Meanwhile, those who are crying cannot afford to pay for their voices to be on the front page of the newspaper. So this is an avenue for the media to help identify those voices and bring them forward. I also want to appreciate VOP. You people are doing a lot. But it's not enough to just say, these people are not there. They are there. Let's go look for them and bring their voice up. Many are speaking on social media, as the case may be, based on the data and the number of followers that they have. But the truth of the matter is, there must be a deliberate attempt to go look for this person who are speaking on behalf of the people and bring their voice to them. So they are still there. Today you could be having a program, oh, let's call a press conference on a particular issue. They'll tell you the bill, you will run because you don't have the money. But these other persons who are the ones who are supposed to speak against, they can bankroll anything they want to bankroll. So we must give these people a voice. I think that's what I want to add in terms of that NSC, CSOs, and unionism. We must give them.
We must give them a voice. Okay, but if they continue to speak up, I mean, people will have no choice but to give them a voice. But they need to speak for people to hear. Oh well. Let's touch on this headline. We've had exodus of doctors in Nigeria. Now, Pengerson is warning that there might be an exodus of oil workers.
Okay, no. This
is it because
this
NNPC is not working? Are they?
No, the exodus are they locals or expatriates? Can we find out?
Well, it might be a little bit difficult getting into that story, but I'm sure they are locals.
Okay, whatever it is, if they are locals, what it means is that they are getting better opportunities outside. And so where would that be? Probably in the Middle East. Talk about Saudi Arabia. Do we have people going to Iran? Yes, we have people going to Iran and all of that. And so it speaks to the decline in the oil sector in Nigeria, especially when we also have expatriates pulling out. Not just as individuals, but their business concerns. You know, Shell is still trying to, working around their business to, I think the only Shell business left here is Shell Gas Nigeria. The SPDC, that is the exploration arm of it, has left long ago. Which other one? And others are maintaining skeletal service. At a point, Mobile Producer Unlimited wanted to shed weight. Chevron wanted to shed weight. You know, so and you begin to ask, what is it? As these locals, as these expatriates are pulling out, do we have the locals replacing them? We have the Nigerian, the Local Content Management Development Board in Bayelsa. That is where it is headquartered. One good thing that the government did, they had to put the headquarters of that corporation in Bayelsa where the action is. So, but how far are they going? Do we have local companies doing enough in terms of exploration, in terms of drilling, in terms of the value chain within the oil industry? Do we have that? Nest Oil seems to be having problem, you know, with his company and all of that. So, as we see this exit, do we have replacements? If we have replacements, which means we are shoring up our local content, then that wouldn't be a problem, because basically the idea of foreign direct investment is that over time, you know, when foreign companies come with equipment, with finances, and labor, they are supposed to transfer that knowledge to the locals over time. That is the main reason behind foreign direct investment. And when we talk about foreign direct investment, we are not talking about people who come with portfolios. We are talking about people who come with capital and equipment, to open up industries and not to open up supermarkets and malls. We are looking at people who come, with footprints here in terms of industries. And when they establish, part of the agreement is that we'll have the local component of it. And the local component also ensures that technology and knowledge is transferred, to the local, so that over time, as people keep shedding weight, the local component keeps gaining weight. That is the essence of it. So I wouldn't know who is leaving.
It's part of the Local Content Act.
Yes.
That an expatriate that comes into the country, the only reason why an expatriate can come to the country is if there is no local skill. And when they come, you put 3 Nigerians under such an expatriate, and for 3 years, they should be able to have one out of these 3 that will take over from him, and he exit the country. But the reverse is the case these days. You see some companies bringing bouncers, bringing cooks,
bringing
all manners of people, and then call them expatriates.
And they come here and lord it over our graduates and all of that.
Our immigration people will just allow them to come in, and they take the place of Nigerians.
We used to have what we call expatriate quota.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yes, expatriate quota.
They are still issuing it, but they are abusing it.
No, when I say, I know they are issuing it, what I mean by expatriate quota is there's a certain percentage of people
that should be in the company.
in the company.
The point is, they circumvent
but we are exceeding that quota. We're exceeding that quota.
Yes, they circumvent it by bringing all manners of people as...
You see people that went to technical colleges overseas, and when they come here, they do what?
They become engineers.
And lord it over our own engineers.
But they become, even those who are equivalent of school start holders, who had vocational training along college, secondary school education, they bring them here and make them supervisor over graduate engineers.
Yes. You see, I had a stint in the oil industry and for a brief period, and this local content of a thing, there was this particular company, service company. You know what they do? When the locals in Port Harcourt, when the community comes and says, look, we need you to employ our people and all of that, the man will say, oh, Indians, oh, okay, bring them. Lebanese and Indians, bring them. And when you say you studied welding, if you have a welding certificate, you know what, they'll take you to accounts department. And when if you don't
do well,
to ensure that you don't do well, so that they will fire you the next week. And if you did accounting, they will take you to welding department without training.
How will you cope?
How will you cope? So it was their own ploy of saying, and when the community comes back, they say, you gave us people, and they couldn't do the job. So what do you want us to do? Now, when you go back and interrogate those people, they say, I'm an accountant. I have ND in accounting. They took me to the welding department. How am I supposed to be a welder? In some cases, there's something they call arc welding, aluminum welding and all of that, undersea welding. They'll take you to that department. And when you go there and stay for like 2 weeks offshore, they'll bring you back. They say, this one doesn't know what he's doing. They'll sack him. And they were intentional in ensuring that they don't take Nigerians. So I don't want to mention the name of that company, but it was a big issue then. So when the community discovered all of this, they came, brought coffins, brought pamphlets and all of that, and blocked the premises of the company. And normally they will go back, take some few people from outside and go inside. When those people come outside, they start singing a different tune. You know how we are, our people and all of that. So it's a clear problem that medical doctors, health workers are leaving. Now we have oil workers leaving as well. Because I have friends that are in Texas and they work in Slumber G and all of that. Nigerians like you and I, and they prefer to work there than come back here.
And work here. Dr. Bright. Dr. Bright, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Well, you see, when people are supposed to work, apart from being available to work, the enabling environment is very, very important. It is very key because your skills can only come to bear if the environment is conducive. Like we are talking today now, we are here on the studio. Everybody is doing their own bit to ensure that whatever thing that we are doing here is okay. But when you look at some of these professionals, the enabling environment is not there. Sometimes there are some places, there are some offers that for somebody like me I have been given, and I said I'm not interested. The reason is that if I sit down there, I'll work for 2 or 3 days, I'll put my pen on paper, I'll write something, and some people will see it as if maybe I'm wish-hunting them or whatever. The enabling environment is not there. I can remember like some almost 20 years ago or thereabouts, the medical director we had there looked at where we were working as house officers, and he checked. You are on call at night, you don't have a place to even sit down or rest where they can call you from. So sometimes you see people leaving the hospital premise and they have to call them, they start rushing down. He built a lounge, a sleeping room close to the ward, that if they call you within seconds, you're already there. He made it comfortable. He built a relaxation room where you could watch TV instead of you leaving the hospital. You want to go and watch football match, or for people who are in that, they stay in the hospital there. He created credit facilities that if there is an emergency, at least every patient should enjoy a credit facility to a particular limit. And if there is a mortality, that maybe there is death, everybody who attended to that client or that patient would have to come and justify the treatment that was given to that patient. So what was happening then? Everybody was on their toes. But today, people don't care. If it's not your brother, if it's not your sister, you don't. And it is not good. So when you now see a place that there is an enabling environment for you to work, will you continue to remain in that place where you'll be begging a janitor to put on a generator when you have surgery to perform? Or a place where the janitor is on standby? If anything goes wrong, he just switch on to his action. Or you want to be in a place where you have to go and tell the cleaner, come and clean this mess, than where a cleaner is on standby to clean up every mess. Or you want a place where they will tell you, oh, there is no drug in the pharmacy, compared to a place where somebody should be taking stock to know what is remaining against the consumption. So when we talk about this, is it migration thing or people leaving or whatever, you don't have to blame them. Create the enabling environment. Let the atmosphere be okay. Like we're in the studio, for example, now. If the hair is hot and maybe the place is not conducive, we will not want to stay. If we manage to stay for today, tomorrow, if we are being caught, we start giving excuses. So those who are condemning, maybe people are leaving or we have this challenge, let us wake up to the responsibility. Oh. There are documented records to show how a standard facility should be. So if it is not there, why don't you work towards it? It doesn't make sense.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we do hope that there will be some sort of transformation in the coming days. I guess that's all we can hope for. But this story also, it borders on health, Dr. Bright. I would like us to, go into this one. So now here is the headline, and then I'll read a bit into it. Senate raises alarm over silent poisoning of lead, lead contamination in Lagos and Ogun states. Now, the story has it that there's been a widespread and scientifically verified lead poisoning disaster devastating Ogijo, a densely populated community straddling the Korodu area of Lagos and Ogun State, Ogun East Senatorial District. Lawmakers said the tragedy caused by emissions from multiple used lead acid battery recycling factories operating in the area had matured into what one senator described as a full-scale public health emergency that is silently destroying an entire generation. The Tokumbo Abiru, who sponsored the motion alongside Benga Daniel, warned that the scale of contamination in Ogijo was an environmental catastrophe of global significance, adding that laboratories' findings revealed pollution levels as high as 186 times the globally acceptable safety threshold. And according to him, the testimonies from residents were heartbreaking. Now, it's quoted that people have complained of constant headaches, abdominal pains, seizures, memory loss, and frightening drop in cognitive function. All of this due to exposure to lead. Now, these are not random conditions. They match almost word for word the medical markers of long-term lead exposure. Dr. Bright, you're the medical doctor here. What are we dealing with? This is from recycled lead batteries that's been going on for a period of time, so long that it has filtered into, the water system. It's affecting lives now. What's the gravity of what we are dealing with here, Dr. Onyebekuka?
Yeah, that's a public health challenge that has been identified already, and going by the words, a problem known is already half solved. So the lawmakers should go beyond just raising alarm. The necessary machinery should be put in place to see that this is addressed. There should be an environmental assessment on the lead to the extent to which it has gone in terms of being in the environment. And of course, those areas where it has actually affected so much should be mapped out, and alternatives should be made for these people, especially since they get it from probably the water they are consuming. If they can make an alternative source of water for them while the issue is being addressed as it is. If, as it is now, if they still continue to be exposed to it, the issue would continue to be on. So the environmental assessment should be done, and intervention should be made. That activity that is causing it should be immediately stopped, and wherever they have maybe the reserves or wherever should be cleared off immediately, and the areas where it is very, very prevalent or where it is high much, the people in that area should be educated, and of course, because it has to do with water, and I won't be shocked if they are relying on probably borehole water. We don't know the depth of the borehole where they are getting their water. But these are the areas where they can readily spring in to ensure that the people are not exposed beyond what they already have for now, and while other measures will be in place to help save them. It's a public health issue, and it should be taken as an emergency, and let the speaker or whatever should just work and spring into action immediately. Again, this is where their oversight function as legislator also come in to ensure that the needs of these people are actually met immediately.
All right, then.
You see, I experienced something like this, similar to this, in my environment. You see, we have this attitude of what does not kill us immediately is not the ambiguity of our deaths. For lead to have the impact that would cause what these people are shouting at about,
it must have been long.
It is about 15 to 20 years. And what they do, in fact, in my area in Ibadan, they labeled me as too stubborn, too recalcitrant, because I understand the implication of this. You know, it starts when you now begin to break those dead batteries and be burning them to extract the lead. And the film permits the whole environment, and when it settles down, it goes into your well, into your borehole, and all that. And over a period of time, do you know that even the film of the lead, when it settles on your roof, the roof starts leaking over time because it's acidic. So when I started making case that, look, let's go and report this man, because the man is a little bit influential in the community. When they want to clear NEPA problem, he will say, no, don't worry, I'll take care of it. But he knew why he was doing that, to shut their mouth. But one day I went to the meeting and said, look, we can't continue with this. I have children living in this environment, and this thing can kill. Do you know that some of my people, my co-landlords, went behind me
and reported you
to report me to the man. So when the man came to my house, I said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm not an illiterate. I know what lead is about. You have to do something. So eventually, when I confronted him, he had to relocate that particular plant to a new area where he bought a land and started doing that business there. But over time, houses will be built around that place again. But if I had kept quiet, maybe the next 15 years, 10 years, it will start manifesting. Kind of and then when it starts manifesting, they will now say, it must be my village people that are it again. So, in this case, we need education. So some people don't even know the impact of this.
The role of government in providing water, I think that should also be addressed. Because in a lot of areas, even where you don't have lead issues, there are contaminated water. The water is brownish. You have
in
to
some
buy
places,
different
you
things
have
to purify
sewage seeping into water, and the people are drinking.
People are drinking.
You understand?
You see, that is one area that the Nigerian government has lost completely. Both the federal and the state government.
It is the local government that should handle what we are discussing.
No, I'm not handle what? What provision of water?
No, okay. I mean making sure that they call them wole then sanitary inspectors. They are located in the local government. You know, they are supposed to be the ones to fish out
those
this.
People stay in offices and just collect salary at the end of the month. I wanted to address the issue of water that Moses raised.
Yes,
because it is of particular concern. You know,
when some of us were growing up, now we had public tap water.
Yes, it's of particular concern to me. You know, because see, water. I live in an area. My family lives in a place where water is an issue, so I understand it clearly. Now we have some cities have existed for as long as 100 years.
More than 100
More than 100 years. Yet the state governments cannot provide potable water. Meanwhile, if you take 5 miles away from the city center, you have aquifer, potable water. Underneath, they can't exploit it. They can't explore it. It's a problem. Growing up, we had pipe-borne waters. When I went to secondary school, in my school,
when you are passing by going to school, you see at least about 3 or 4 before you get to your
pipe-borne waters. By who? By the State Water Corporation.
Yes.
But over time, we ignored that and let it die. We now have people providing boreholes for themselves.
And even the consequence of the borehole is also dangerous.
It's not treated.
Because for you to hit aquifer in a place like Port Harcourt, how many meters underneath you hit water? And people are rejoicing. Meanwhile, it is not aquifer.
It's surface water.
Surface water is not potable.
It's not potable.
And it's a problem. And over time, you see people suffering from one form of illness and the other. So it is a clarion call on government. If you can't do other things, and like I said the other time, if it is difficult for government to build water corporations, Why not seek for foreign help? People will come, foreigners who have manufactured these things, they will come and install, distribute water, collect their money over time in terms of PPP, like 20, 30 years, and they walk away. You take over the business.
Or your state government
Should that be a big
attempted
problem?
it sometime in the past. Do you know what happened? Government officials were stealing the chlorine and alum, and they were pumping water of low quality to the public. You can imagine.
We just hate ourselves.
Honestly.
And we say we are our own worst enemies.
Oh well, it's unfortunate, but this is where we have to draw the curtains on newspaper review.
I think
Dr. Bright, you want to say something? Go ahead, please.
I said, if you check the expenditure of the government on water, it will be you will be shocked, and you'll be wondering where are those money going into. They see budget money, spend money on over here. We call it water board. I don't know what they call it in other location. People ask, where are this money going into? We have boreholes almost everywhere because people are not providing water for themselves. This water, this borehole, as the water is supposed to be tested, there should be actually a specified fit from where they could get water. But who is monitoring all this? Nobody. And from time to time, the borehole are supposed to be treated. Who does it? Who ensures that, oh, this one is done, this one is done? And the people who are not informed, they just get water, they take, and they go. There was a place where I was staying. Whenever I drink water from that bowl, I used to have sore throat. I have to stop it. Then I was a student. I have to stop it, and I stopped having a bowl.
Let me quickly ask you, in a few seconds, even when you boil that water or you use it to cook, does the heat purify it to an extent where one can consume it? Or is that even, should we just ignore the water entirely? Because we have a water problem in my estate.
If you boil to like 100 degrees when it is boiling, at least it will kill a whole lot of germs that are in it. But then you may have to now go through filtration and some other things before you use it. So but when you use it to cook, because the food will boil, you may not have those impacts. But when you now have to just take it directly and drink, it becomes a challenge. And it's also good that we should know that if the water is clear, does not mean that the water is even
purified.
So it has to pass through processes.
Dr. Bright, you're never a cooker. Unfortunately, this is where we have to wrap it up. Newspaper review. This is a pressing issue, and I do hope it can be addressed because it speaks to health of Nigerians. Well, thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you very much as well to Dele Fanimo, public affairs commentator. Thank you for your time and your contribution. Chukwuma, also do appreciate your contribution. He makes a return at 6 p.m. for Political Lens.
Yes, and I'll be joined by Dr. Peter Amasike, who will travel around Nigeria to bring you interesting trending stories. Join me there, and it promises to be quite interesting.
All right, there you have it, and that's it on the show today. Sports comes up next. I'm pretty sure Nigerians will miss William Troost Ekong as he steps away from international football, but we wish him the very best. I am Moses Humphrey. I wish you the very best. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing